Hi everyone, here is how I made this Dollar Tree pan look like wood for my daughter's wedding centerpieces. Here are the supplies you will need. I will also show them individually in this video, but of course you will use the supplies for the look that you're going for. This is the pan I used. It was just a brownie pan that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I removed the label, of course, and made sure that the glue was out. I took an 80 grit sandpaper and sanded it down. This step is important. You want to make sure that you're sanding it well because it helps the paint actually stick to it. I found the better sanding I give, the better the look comes out too. It kind of helps with the wood grain look that you want to go for when you are creating your look. The next thing you're going to want to do is get a cloth and clean all of that dust out. You want to make sure you clean it well because you do not want any of the sanding dust in your paint. So just make sure that you clean it well and that you get all of that out. I found that if you didn't, you'll have like little bubbles in your paint, but it's really just dust. So you're going to clean that really good, and make sure you get in the corners. That was the part that I messed up on, was not cleaning my corners well. The next thing that you're going to want to do is prime it. Here is the primer I use, but of course you can use any primer that you have on hand. I wouldn't suggest a roll-on primer. I would definitely stick with a spray-on for this because you do want an even coat of primer. I would not skip the primer part. That is one part I would not skip, is priming. I would definitely prime it. It just makes the paint stick better, and I really believe it's what helped achieve this look was the primer. So you just want to get a good even coat of primer. Now after you prime it, I cannot stress enough on drying time. You are going to want at least 15 minutes of drying time. If you can do more, I would suggest it before you start the next project. Now with this, I just wanted to see if this would also work on a plastic charger that I have laying around the house, because wood chargers are so expensive. And so I just thought I'd give it a try for you guys. And it did not disappoint, but you're going to follow the same steps that you do with the metal pans, and that is sanding it first and cleaning it. So you're just going to follow the same steps. So now that your charger is all cleaned up, you are going to prime it, and I am again using the Rust-O-Leum primer. I purchased this at Lowe's, but I will link everything that I used so that you know exactly what I used to achieve the look. I will link all of that for you. So you're going to prime this the same way you prime the metal. Again, after you have primed it, you need at least 15 minutes drying time in between the primer and the next paint. Here is our metal pan ready for the next coat of paint, and I am using Krylon Satin Brown Boots is the color that I used. Of course, I will link that. It's a very sandy brown, I would say, and it worked great for my look. But of course, you can use any brown, depending on what look you're going for. But this brown worked really well, and the Krylon covered great. So you're just going to make sure that you get a good even coat on there. There's not a lot of splotches or anything like that. You really want to cover it well in that brown paint, because this is what really makes it look like wood, is the undertone of the brown paints. So you really want to get a good even coverage on it. And again, after this step, I cannot stress drying time. This is the most important step, that drying time is so important. So here's our charger that I was, playing around with for you guys. It is plastic. So this is a plastic charger from the Dollar Tree. So it is going to, so this does also work on plastic. So you're going to give it that nice, even coat of brown paints. I was getting something off of it there. You want to make sure it's clean. So you're just going to give it that good, even coat of brown paint, just like you did the metal pan. Again, at this point, I don't think it really matters what you're working with, whether it's metal, plastic, or some other material. I think it would almost all work the same way. I've only done the metal and the plastic. Of course, you're welcome to try anything that you were doing for your wedding. But again, I did this because my daughter wanted wood boxes for her wedding, and they are pricey, and they just were not in the wedding budget. So I wanted to come up with another way that she could have her wood boxes, but it didn't cost as much money. So the next step is just stain. It is wood stain, which you would stain wood with. I believe I used walnuts, but I'll link the exact color for you. You're also going to need some chip brushes. Chip brushes are important. This is how you're going to achieve your look. Now what you're going to want to do is pull any loose hairs that may be on the brush so that they don't end up in your paints. All right, so what you're doing here is you're going to need very little stain. You just need a little. And you are just going to brush it on. And there's really no rhyme nor reason to how you brush it on, as long as you're going the same direction. What I did was I used one brush to apply it, and then I used a dry brush to kind of remove some of that stain so that that brown showed through that we painted on earlier. It was very simple to do to make it look, and you'll see once you start painting that it comes together, and it almost instantly starts to look like wood. Again, there's no perfect way, and please remember, wood is not perfect, so it does not have to be perfect. You make it look however you want. If you want more of the paint showing through where it's a lighter brown, just don't use as much of the stain, or even use a lighter stain. My daughter wanted a more dark wood, so that's why we went with the darker stain. But as you can see, it's already coming together. Just make sure that you don't leave any thick coats of the stain, like where all you see is stain. You want to make sure it looks streaky, like you're streaking it. But you're going to cover the whole pan, and you're going to do it pretty much the same way. But again, please make sure your paint is dry. I didn't, because I was in a rush to get this video up for you guys. And I knew I had to edit it. And this side of the pan, the paint wasn't dry all the way. So it kind of leaves this like washiness to it, which I'll show you in a minute. But again, I am following the same steps of just putting on the stain, taking the dry brush, and removing the stain. And it gives it that wood look. Now, if you want your wood to look naughty, you can spin the brush in a circle in a certain spot, and it will make the naughty. My daughter doesn't like knots on the wood, so I, of course, didn't do that for her, but it's definitely something you can do if you want to achieve it. You can just spin your brush in a circle, and it will make it look like it swirls in a knot. So this is very inexpensive. It is also a great way to give your wedding or any kind of party, or if you just want home decor for your house, you can achieve a wood look with this. It was The only thing I can say about it, it is time consuming. Um, it takes a lot of time because you have to let each layer dry. Now the stain does take a lot longer to dry, so you're going to want to start early, and you're going to want to make sure it's a sunny day and that these can be in heat. But as you can see, it's already starting to look. And here's where I'll show you where I didn't let the paint dry. That's what I'm showing you here. It kind of has that washy look to it. And the stain doesn't stick as well if the paint is not completely dry. But this, now here is the plastic charger. And of course you're going to do this the exact same way you did your metal pan. You are going to apply the stain. You're going to brush it on, and then you're going to use your dry brush, and you are going to remove the excess stain. The plastic worked just as well as the metal. There really was no difference to them. One thing I can say is if it has that little lip as you see in this picture, make sure you work your stain there and you don't end up with a pool of stain. That can easily happen. You just really need to work that stain. And even when you're working with something that is round, you are going to want to go side to side with your brushes to really achieve that wood look. You are just removing your excess stain. Remember, it does not have to be perfect. Wood is not perfect. You can make this whatever color you want. You can put less stain. You can put more stain. You can change the color of the stain. You can change the color of the spray paint. It is all up to you on what you do to achieve this look. Now, this is the inside of the metal pan that we painted earlier. And again, you're following the same steps. You are just going to paint that pan. Again, making sure that your paint is dry and that your stain is not pulling in the corners. I cannot stress this to you enough. Make sure there is no stain where the side of your pan meets the bottom of your pan. It will not look like wood if you have that there. So just keep going over it until there's no pull of stain. But you are just going to keep going over this until it looks the way you want. Just keep brushing on your stain until you have it just the way you want it. The look is what you want it to be. And again, there's no rhyme or reason to the way I'm painting it. I'm just making sure that I stay in the same direction to give it that wood look. I'm putting more stain in other places that I want it to be darker. I'm taking stain away where I want it to be lighter. So there's really no rhyme or reason. It's just doing whatever your heart wants. It does not have to be perfect. I've done a ton of weddings. Trust me, nobody is got a magnifying glass out looking at them, or even if it's in your home. So just do what makes you happy. And again, there it is. And it's as simple as just brushing it on and making it look the way you want. And now it's done, and now you're just going to give it that drying time. I will say it took most of the day for the stain to dry and not be tacky anymore. So you are really going to want to let that stain dry. So again, make sure it's a sunny day and that the temperatures are good in wherever it is that you live for it to dry. Here's the end results, everyone, of what it looked like after it dried at the end of the day. I think it turned out beautiful. I couldn't be more happy with them. My daughter is super excited with them. And again, the cost is minimal. This is what the charger looked like and turned out to be. And this is the inside of the pan. So they turned out amazing. I'm super happy with them. I hope this helps you guys out and saves you a lot of money. I know a lot of people, I posted in here too, wanted to know how I made my daughter's save the date magnets for under $100, and I'm going to post a video about that as well. Please remember, this is the first video I've ever done, so be easy on me, and I hope this helps you guys out.